Before we dive deeper into it, when someone says front-end and back-end, what does your brain picture?
A lot of people at times take care of more of the back end, more of what happens deep down, and they forget the front end because within that time frame everything changes. Technologies changes, new frameworks come in, new options come in, and you have the money to spend on that.
So instead of cutting the cost of development, shortlist your MVP features can fit.
Make sure you are not overbuilding before you really know what your market is, and is the market really ready to accept your service or your product and pay you for that. Unless someone is not ready to pay you for that, why do you want to build it? Are you running a charity organization? It's not charity. No business is charity. Businesses are built only for making money. But what you know is what you need, what your customers need, that the technical guys don't know.
Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of our podcast series, Future Ready Systems with Krishna Kumar. Today, we are going to talk about front-end versus back-end. So picture this, you finally installed an app your friend won't stop talking about, and you logged in and clicked the button and nothing happens. You waited for 8 seconds, then 12 seconds. Then what do? You just closed it and went out and never opened it again. And the startup, they spent 6 months perfecting it. And the thing that made you leave in just 12 seconds had nothing to do with it. So today, we will be discussing the differences between front end and back end. And today, as usual, we have Mr. Krishna Kumar, MVP consultant and AI architect with us to guide us through this session. Welcome, sir.
Awesome. This was something I always dreamt of. Someone telling me or supporting me in the early stages or the first year of my time with working on founders or when I myself founded companies. No one told me, and I really felt that this was what the founders needed to know. It was very important for them. So as they grow or plan to grow, something that can kill their startup, if cut from the bud in the early stages, it becomes easier for them to go ahead. This was really important thing that I too loved to do for a long time and dreamt of that.
So sir, before we dive deeper into it, when someone says front-end and back-end, what does your brain picture?
Yeah, front end and back end. Yeah, we can go ahead and take an example of a restaurant. We walk into a restaurant to the front gate and the aesthetically finished interiors, the front Broadway, the drive-in, and when you walk inside and sit on the table, how nicely it's laid and set up, the lighting, the ambience, and the waiter who comes and talks to you, that's almost everything in the front end. That's what you see when you walk into a restaurant. You don't see what happens in the kitchen. You have no access to that. And if in case the kitchen is not rightly done and you don't have the right people cooking for you, exactly you find something that something comes to your table that you didn't wish for and didn't dream of or imagine when you walked into that. You had different expectations from the restaurant and the ambience that you would get from the back end also. And typically what happens, your food is not good, it's not nicely warmed up, or it doesn't have the taste that you expected. What does the front end or the waiter have to do with that? Nothing. But think over, would you really go back to that restaurant again, even though you had a very great experience with the ambience, with the layout, with the finishing, with the waiter taking care of you, had excellent experiences. But would you still go back to the restaurant in case you don't have the food rightly done to you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that. So that's the major difference between the front end and back end. A lot of people at times take care of more of the back end, more of what happens deep down, and they forget the front end. And some people think of only the front ends, the designs, the colors, the layouts, the ambience, the aesthetics, and they forget the back end.
Yes.
If the combination is not there, you are not going to be successful or not going to be growing, because your customers or your ICP is not going to accept that or take that in. They want a full-fledged mechanism with the front end nicely done and the delivery mechanism has to be great. And this is what the major difference is in the front end and back end, and this is what makes or kills a startup, even though the startup has spent 4 months or 6 months developing the whole application for you. Unless it is done something in a way that the customers need it or the customers feel it, because the back end is never seen, it's felt. That feeling is what brings them back to restaurant.
Yeah. Nowadays, I have seen that many cafes focus more on aesthetics and how to make it Instagrammable, and they completely forget about the actual thing that is food.
Actually, because what happens now, this is what the front end is, this is what can be showcased to people, and we come under a wrong thought process, wrong feeling that the nicer the aesthetics, the nicer the finishing, the nicer the ambient lighting in the front end, your customers are going to like and take it. But more of this, it's always what reduces the pain of a customer, because we are connecting it to a restaurant. What reduces the pain is the hunger and your taste buds.
Yeah.
If the taste buds are not satisfied, do you think the customer is going to come back again? No, because their ultimate pain is the food, the empty stomachs and the taste buds. These two are the major pains for them. If you can't solve these pains, you won't get the customer back. Once they may come.
Yeah.
So once someone is paying to you and he is staying with you, it means he is happy. You have made a good combination or balance between the front end and the back end. In case he is not coming back, we need to really first analyze our back end, because it's the pain. Even if the front end is not looking a bit awesome, if the pain is relieved, people come back.
Yeah.
If I take the scenario of India, Mumbai, you have lots of small stalls on the road near the Juhu beach and areas. What do they serve? They don't serve you aesthetics.
Yeah.
They don't make it look good. What they do is they satisfy your taste buds. The saliva starts rolling as soon as you move into those areas, and that is why the people come back again. So always take care of the back end. That is the thing that reduces or recedes the pain of a customer. And after all, what you are working for is to solve the pain.
Yeah.
So unless you solve the pain, don't expect the miracles to happen.
Here's something I have heard more from the founders, that they obsess over the UI. Like they will run 20 rounds of feedback on the button color, but they will completely, abandon the backend. They don't think about it. Is this a real problem?
That's a real problem, because most of the founders are not tech wizards or tech guys who has input to this, and they start the ideation process itself right from the UI. It has to be the other way. The ideation process or the MVP development process should go from what needs to be given to the customer to solve his problem. If you look at that, what needs to be given to the customer as a packaging, it's for the gift.
Yeah.
The real user is not the guy who is purchasing this gift or giving this gift. Now what we think is the real user is the guy who is purchasing this gift for. It's for somebody else. Now here in the gift environment, the reason for that is the value of this product normally cuts off as soon as the gift is handed over, with the lots of flashes, colors, lots of lighting and lots of cameras. At the end of that gift, then what happens after that for the gift is no one takes care of that. But in a founding scenario, this customer has to come back to you. He has to pay you, and the end user of the product is going to pay you. So in that scenario, you should make very clear in your mindset that it's the backend that's going to hold you. It's the backend that's going to help the customer solve his problem, mitigate his problem. Unless that is done, he doesn't come back to you. Go to a doctor, he gives you a colorful set of tablets or capsules for you, light, nicely packaged colors. Unless it solves your pain, would you go back to the doctor? No. Maybe because of the presentation, because of the skills, because of the aesthetics, the press, the A lot of hoo-ha in the market for that. You may get a few customers who will purchase from you and go the first lot or register with your application and go. But when it comes to solving the problem and it doesn't solve your problem, you are not going to use that. Neither you are going to go back to your doctor, you are going to cut it off at that stage. So make sure what needs to go to the end customer is the solution what you are going to create. Your business depends on the solution, not on the colors.
Yeah. Have you seen happen this in the first time?
Yeah, this has happened multiple times because I'll take the scenario of a baby now basically. Someone got a new baby. Now what do you start with that baby? Do you really think what you're going to feed is very important? The timings for the feeding, the quantity of feeding, how hot it is, how warm it is. At times that's adjusted. Many a times you pick it up from the refrigerator, put it in the microwave and give it to the child. But have you ever seen that baby who has not been powdered with a black tikka over there and nicely dressed, different dresses change, maybe 6 to 8 times a day you change the dresses. These things happen. You focus more on the front end rather than the health of the baby. This is what makes the difference. Actually, the baby's health is more important than what she wears. What she wears is going to be looked in by others. And the others are not important to you because the others are not going to grow the baby. The baby has to grow, the internal of the baby has to be good.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yes. So founders tend to focus more on front end. But does the opposite happen, like too much of back end obsession?
That's another thing that happens. Actually, there's supposed to be a balance between the front end and back end and the goal of what you're creating. What the founders nowadays feel that I'm going to create another Facebook or I'm going to create another Google now and I'm going to create another Microsoft Windows now. In reality, it's not. Now what happens in this mindset and feeling, the founders go and start building the backend for a 10 million user.
Yeah.
And you don't have one user now. So the more concentration on that is reducing the runway. You're spending money on the wrong thing, which is not at all needed. As soon as you give 100,000 or 2,000 users, you start reworking on the application. That's where the upgrades and growth happens. You never get 10 million users on the first day unless you have this some small applications that's being launched by very well-known personalities. And in that case also the downloads happen. Many a times after downloads is left, the registrations happen or the login sign up happen. After that, hardly all these people use. Hardly a few of them use that. So at that particular time, if you can spike up your servers and grow up your infrastructure, it can handle that 2, 3, 4, 6 or 12 hours. After that, you are back where you are. But unless you have the marketing gimmick that can bring you these kind of responses, if a normal founder is going for that, I think he should not be aiming at those kind of infrastructure, those kind of architecture for the application and spend money, time building up that. It doesn't make sense financially, neither emotionally, because at the end of the day you find Oracle servers being set up directly for running a small application with small users. It doesn't work out for them, neither financially or mentally. Then they get frustrated because you don't have those kind of users. Your servers, you are just paying the bills and nothing comes out of that. So basically they should have a balance between the front end and back end. Make sure your front end is optimized and architectured for something that can happen in 1 year or 1.5 years, the maximum. Don't think about that after that. Because within that time frame, everything changes. Technologies changes, new frameworks come in, new options come in, and you have the money to spend on that because you have users by that time. That's the time you should look at that growth. That sounds like a plan that should sound like a plan for any founder, and the focus of any founder from the day one of the ideation should be with a proper 2-year plan on an Excel sheet with the numbers, and those numbers which you should be keeping in mind You should have shared those numbers with the development partners. These problems normally happen when you have freelancers, when you just hire 1 or 2 developers off the fly and you want to make them this. If you have a good partner who have their own team, they have their own thought process. They understand what's needed for you as you grow. They will support you, they will guide you, and then take it from there. This is what is needed for you. So that's major. The first mistake people do is going with freelancers or reducing cost at the development level. But 10% reduced here is going to increase 60, 70, 80% of your infra and running cost and also upgradation cost. Unless you are not a mathematically genius, at least a basic guy, you should be able to understand what I am going to lose by this. And the initial stages is the only stage which is going to make or kill your application. If it doesn't run, you don't expect your customers to come back to you. Here you're gone. So all the money, whatever you have put, whatever savings you have done, instead of saving that, you have lost it. It's like you're losing money by thinking it's a saving. It's not saving, it's a loss.
So instead of cutting the cost of development, shortlist your MVP features carefully, right?
Not only shortlist, make sure you are not overbuilding before you really know what your market is the market really ready to accept your service or your product and pay you for that. Unless someone is not ready to pay you for that, why do you want to build it? Are you running a charity organization? It's not charity. No business is charity. Businesses are built only for making money. Yes, the way of making money is by helping people improve their quality of life. And these two things, if someone doesn't understand, I suggest you should go and do a job and not get into startups or founding new businesses. It doesn't work for you.
Let's slow down the one moment we all experience every day. Like you are on Amazon and tap buy now. Walk me through what is actually happening.
Oh, nice question. It's basically normally if we think or change our mindset into like of a development engineer or a founder, we can just go through the actions that happen in the front end and the corresponding multiple layers of actions that happen in parallel or one after other in the back end to give the result to the front end. Just think over, you like a product, load on to the load on to the Amazon side, you search for something, click on the search and you put in a keyword that may be a laptop. And what happens then? This word laptops goes to the server. It picks up the IDs of all the laptops because you just give laptop and sorts it with the items which are near to you and then get those IDs and then pick up the details, the images, the ID, the description. Yes, then what happens? Once the screen loads, you like something, you click on the add to cart button, it goes to the cart. Now you go to the cart, you find your items, your address to be selected, it gives you a temporary or ballpark kind of delivery dates. How does it do? The distance from your nearest location of that product availability to your address is calculated and then given that. Then you simply have to do the payments from there. Once you click on the payment, it goes to the payment gateway, you add your UPI card, whatever it is, does the payment. They do the check with the banks, payment gateway check with the banks, get the approval from banks, and once the payment is released from the banks, it comes to you say payment done and order placed. Just see order placed with a congratulations, the order has been placed, it will be delivered to you with it. But in the back end, this small 2 steps, how much lines of multitasking happens? Goes to the bank, goes to the payment gateway aggregator, they send to the bank responds back, the whole process happens. Then the bank also transfers the money to your account, immediately you get the money in your account, it checks for the shipping. Once the payment order has been placed, the system automatically sends to the warehouse to start the packing and dispatch of the items. Within maybe a few microseconds, you have the product warehouse started packing it. At times you get the product after all the deliverables also within a day or within 2 days. So these many things happen in the back end. To this level of things happening on a required level of speed, so that you don't face the problem, you don't feel frustrated seeing the same screen with a round logging in again. This is what needs the backend, the optimization of backend, the optimization of the infrastructure. Along with the backend, if the infrastructure is not optimized, you don't expect things to happen. You can't have some car run at 200 miles if you don't have the engine behind that. So the engine has to be there for the speed to go. Same way, the backend and the infrastructure or the servers need to work in tandem so that the deliverables are speeded up. This is what needs to be taken care of. This is what the architect does. A freelancer developer cannot do that. His thought process is on writing the code, bringing into a screen what you want him to bring. Now, what all things has to happen in the back end for that, he cannot anticipate or plan because he is not qualified for that. You need a proper team which does that work. Unless you have the team, a proper project management team, a proper architect, a proper development team, this is not going to be successful. You will have something that will run on your system, it will run on a developer's system, and when you go live, it will start stopping.
Yeah, so there's so much things happening in the back end. Like, I will never look at the order now button the same way again.
Exactly. So one click you make, there are a lot of things happen in parallel. And all this has to be processed. There's a server required, there's a RAM required, there's a database required, a proper internet connectivity. Everything is there. So there's a lot of things in the back end. The founders should start knowing these things. There is a concept of bringing or developing the scope of work in a technical language. We don't do that. Especially our team doesn't do that. We put the scope of work in the layman's language, so anybody who understands can read in grade 3 or grade 4 English, he can understand what actually happens. So he knows the whole picture. And this is the important part of any development process.
I hope the viewers got a simple idea of what is front-end and back-end.
Yes, the development has to be in such a way that the technicalities can go for the guys who knows that, who is doing that. But for the guy who is investing and getting it done, for him in a layman's language, he should know line by line what happens after a button is clicked. Or maybe after this particular page, what happens. What all things are done in the back end in a pure non-commercial and non-technical grade 3 or grade 4 level English, he should be able to read and understand that, put it in his mind that these are the things that happen, and then he will know that he needs money to be spent on this properly and with the right team to make sure this is successful and works when it goes to customers, not only on your lab or on your laptop.
Yes, thanks for the simple explanations. Let's speak to someone who has zero technical knowledge.
Yes.
They want to build a product. They hire developers and they don't want to be fooled and want to make an expensive mistake. What should they understand about backend and frontend?
Nice question. Yes, because this is much reliable for our community who is looking into this, because we have a good amount of non-technical founders who are building things.
Yes.
Because non-technical people, the benefit of that is they understand the problem from a bigger angle, from an eagle's eyes view. Whereas a developer sits in the box, so for him, understanding a problem and creating an idea is difficult, and they go too technical. And here what the best thing is, anytime the scope of work is developed, it should be very nicely written in pure English language without any technical jargons. Technical jargons will confuse you. Unfortunately, you don't know that. That's a real fact, and let's accept it. But what you know is what you need, what your customers need, that the technical guys don't know. So there should be parity between you and the technical partner who is the team lead or project manager of the team who is developing it for you. So both of you understand on the same levels, it becomes easier. So make sure your scope is defined for a layman who doesn't understand technology, who doesn't know technology. And it should be, that's one thing. Second thing, ask your developers or your team, what happens when this breaks? Any particular day, if it breaks, what happens? If he can explain it to you in 1 or 2 sentences, then that is something that can be removed out from the scenario. That can be catered to. Unless he can explain what happens in the back end in 2 sentences in a simple language and you are getting confused by that, then there is a problem in that. The same scenario I had put for the founders. Unless you can explain your ICP or your customer's real problem in 2 sentences or 1 sentence, the best one, you don't have a real problem. You have not found out the real problem, or your ICP is wrong. You are just spending money on the wrong thing. So for the founders and for the development team, they should be able to explain the problem, what can break with 1 sentence. And in another sentence, it can tell you why it should not break. If this is there, the developers and the front end and back end developers and also the founders will have a very cohesive team. They should be able to deliver a much better product that doesn't break to your expected customer base in the next 1 year. Not 100,000 or 1 million, 2 million or 3 million kind of customers. The normal range of growth of any business is what needs to be taken care of.
Okay, so clarity reveals the quality. I want to unpack that. Are you saying that technical complexity is a red flag sometimes?
If you start talking technical complexity with the founder, it's a red flag.
Okay.
The founder need not know what happens in the back end. He need not know what is the SQL script written. He need not know what is the API script written. He need not read that. That's not his job. See, if you hire someone, he should be a technical partner for you. Both you and the technical partner should understand the vision, the goals and the pain areas and for whom you are building. After that, what happens below the technical partner is his baby. Why you want to take some other's baby and feed it? You have your own baby. You need to get the GTM done. You need to know your ICP. You need to talk to your ICP customers. Do all those things. That is important for you, not the other way around.
So don't focus on the wrong things.
Focus on the right things to get the things done and launch it at the earliest before someone else comes with that idea. Get your customers onboarded, handhold them, talk to them. You will understand. Are they really looking for this and this is a problem, or this is just a packaging of the problem? If it is not a problem, you can cut it at that time. Your runway is not fully finished. You have a lot of space. You can find something else, bring in some other idea or divert this idea into something else.
So we have been exploring the AI for last few episodes.
Yeah.
How does the front end and back end connect to AI powered products?
Front end is just a simple page and nothing else. Everything that happens is in the back end for AI. And in case if you don't get the result in time, it's because there is some problem in the AI database or your internet connectivity and the processing speed of the AI servers. In case you get weird answers or wrong answers, the data you are input to your AI is wrong or it's not been cleaned up. So it's always the back end that's the most important part for any AI related things.
Okay.
Anything AI, the back end has to be strong, clean, spick and span, and should be able to run fast.
Okay.
For a layman, these are the things that should happen. If this is there, your AI will perform and no reason why it will not perform. It has to perform. And if these three things, one of them is fishy or something raw, not done properly, cost cutting has happened, time cutting has happened, you will have weird things happening up in AI.
Okay.
It's in AI, it's like you give 1 kg of weird thing, it'll throw out 10 kg of weird thing. So always what you get from the AI will be extrapolated and much bigger than what you give in. So it will be very obvious and clear for the users that it's been screwed up.
Okay.
So make sure your backend is clean and nicely done in AI, and that is what will bring you results.
Okay. So for AI, it's all backend.
It's all backend. You see ChatGPT, see Claude, how the front end, just log into the browser, just 1 or 2 logo, 1
Yeah.
images and the text box, that's all.
Yeah, it's so simple.
It's maybe half an hour job even to create something, not even half an hour, to create something like this and put it on server. What happens? So much of data processing, so much of, people speak of big servers, the heat and everything.
Yeah.
It's all what happens in the backend.
Okay.
In AI, even if your servers in the backend gets heated up, your answers get weird.
Yes.
You need to make sure the air conditioning is correct there. So that important is the backend there.
I want to go somewhere personal for a second. Like, you have seen many startups fail because of
Yeah.
their technical decisions. What's the human side to that? Like, what actually happens to the people who are involved in it?
How do you want me to take it? The first line ad, it says, the founders take it very personal with the front end, which should not be. They should have a balanced approach towards that. And the only place they start cutting corners is at the back end. Because they feel nobody sees that. What happens, what goes under the hood is the most important thing in a car, whereas people see it's only the upholstery that matters. Yes, for a walk-in customer, upholstery matters. But if you put the leg on the accelerator, it's the hood that matters. And that is needed as you go with investments, as you start scaling, that's important. I had a small stint with a guy named as X. He had built up a nice system. It was a lot of effort had gone into the UI UX part. A lot of research was done before we cleared it up. Then that was the most important aspect of that, and we built something that worked. But the technical part was just a stopgap arrangement kind of arrangement where it should work, the front end should load, and that was what important. So the remaining things were not taken as an importance. The architecture was not set up as an importance. The server configurations or the way the servers were set up with microsystems or something like that was not taken care of. He got funding looking at the app that worked on his system, on the developer system and the investor system. As he went live and a number of people started using it more because people liked it.
Yeah.
It solved a real problem and it was not very costly also. So the cost was well balanced between the problem it solved and the benefit the customer that got. So the feedback from the customers were huge. The push of the customers getting into this was large because the referrals started flowing in automatically because it was a good product. But after a small X point of time, the system started hanging. It started throwing in wrong numbers. The servers started stopping out. The investors were fired up in the meetings because they had put in their money. This guy was totally blind. He didn't know what to do. After so much effort, something was built. They had the toughest time to make this. Finally, they had to pull down the servers, tell the customers we are going down for 1 month or 2 months, and then we are coming up again with version 2. And the second ride was not that easy with the investors or with customers because they already had one pain area and it was not easy. Even though they slowly started pushing it, it was not that easy game. So always what they did there was they just took in 1 or 2 freelancers and built up the back end and they came back to me for the front end. I had very clearly told them this is the wrong way of approach of doing. Unfortunately, he was getting short on his runway. Secondly, he was not having the time. He felt that backend was not important. His importance that he gave to was making the investors happy and getting the investment. He never thought of anything else. He never thought of the scenario when he would have more numbers of people. So such scenarios happen. Then we had to rebuild the backend again and put upon different servers which had the capability to take these kind of intensive loads in particular hours of the day due to the marketing, and finally it worked after 2 months. But that was not a bad experience.
Alright, sir. So we do this every episode. I ask 3 questions and you give the answers that comes first in your mind. Are you ready?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. Front end or back end?
Backend, because that's what everybody sees. Okay. Nobody sees.
App crashes, whose fault?
Backend, no doubt.
Instagram's feed loads slowly, front end or back end?
Again, it's backend because lots and millions of posts are filtered, managed, and then shown to you.
Okay. First hire for a startup, front end or back end?
I think it should be a full-fledged, full developer, not a front-end UX guy or not just a DB guy.
Most underestimated part of your product?
Backend. Nobody sees that.
Okay.
So it's basically, backend is that nobody sees, but everybody wants.
Okay, that's it. So backend is the most important thing. Keep noting.
Yeah, backend, that's what makes you or kills you. Everything else can be handled, can be adjusted, the front can be tweaked always. Backend is what will make your day.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, I want to just mention a question from a listener. We have got a question.
Awesome.
Okay, so it's from Meera. She runs a small D2C brand. So she writes like, I have a website built by a freelancer.
Okay.
Sometimes it's slow, sometimes the checkout breaks. I don't know if it's my front end or back end. How do I even start to understand what's wrong?
It's very simple. If your checkout breaks, if your site breaks at part, it's supposed to be a backend because the whole checkout process runs with your backend. If that's not working, that's the reason it's not showing in the front. It's like something that's made in the kitchen, if it's burnt out and served to you, the fault is not with the waiter. The fault is with the cook who has cooked it for you. And that's the backend.
Okay. So Meera, I hope that clears the things out. So
Check onto your backend, get it digged by someone who knows the backend, and find out what the real fault is before spending money on that or before having the rework done on that. There are lots of reasons in the backend why something can fail. It's up to you to really ask the question why 5 times and you get the real answer why it has broken down. There's a saying in business, always ask the question 5 times and that's why. You get the correct reason why something is breaking. Else what you will get is a superficial answer. Even if you start managing or rebuilding on that part, there is something else in the deep bottom that's breaking.
Okay. So Meera, thank you for asking the question. Many founders were wondering. We always end with one thing, one idea you want the listener to carry with them. So what's yours?
Yeah. We have been talking about front end, back end, why it is not working and what's going wrong to understand what's the reason that can make it go wrong. See, you're not building an app, you're not building a website. Basically, what you are building is a promise. It's not a feature. Now, to make sure this promise holds on, you need the front end which shows what your promise is. And if you want that promise to be delivered, it's the back end that makes it delivered. I am making it very simpler on the top layer for a non-tech guy, no jargons, very simple, grade 3 English, or I can say grade 2 English. It's the front end that shows what you promise and the back end that delivers your promise. Only showing a promise will bring you customers, but unless you deliver, your customers will not hang on with you. They will drop you and go without saying a goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for clearing things out. Thank you for this wonderful session, sir.
Thank you. It was great talking to you and our founders. Yes, it's very bad time for founders, especially in these economic conditions, in the war going on, in everywhere. Lot of different things happening. Lot of countries taking in a lot of different game angles, different policy decisions. It's difficult time for the founders, but no, it's difficult, but this is the best time you launch something. I always say to all my founders who are connected with me, this is the best time for you to launch because the noise is less now. If you say something, there are more people who will be listening to you than in the good times when there is lot of noise and lot of people are talking. So utilize this time for you to launch your business, get your initial customers, help them validate your product, and then be ready. By the time the market settles down, you are going a fast scaling mode with everything going fast. So all my best for all the founders. Any of you feel you are get stuck, want help, want advices, do connect with me directly. You will have my links in the bottom and my website is there. Do connect. We can always do. Yeah, off the hand, we are launching up a new model for the startup founders where we select out the top 5 founders who have a good idea, great concept, nice brains and power under the hood for them to run the whole model of the startup and guide them, help them, handhold them so they can launch and be successful. Anybody interested in getting to the first few sessions where we shortlist, talk to you, give you an understanding what's the, there is shortlist the people, do join on the links that's below. There's a website. You can go ahead and start registering with giving your details. We will be starting to filter by next week so that you can be on time. Let's see if you make it to our founders mentorship, and I'm sure our guarantee is you make $1 million turnover in 18 months guaranteed. You want to be that? Join us. Let's see how we can help each other grow in these times and make your footprints in this world of technology. Thank you. Nice meeting you up all today.
It's basically what people see versus what people feel. And all the good products, like all the best people, make sure that both are trustworthy. So, if you feel like this is worth sharing, please share with someone who is building something. And see you next time until build something that lasts. This was Future Ready Systems with Krishna Kumar.